Hello again. This is part 2. Now we have finished going through the entire, I guess this is, this is part 2. The first part is going through, like I said in the previous video. And now if I can straighten out my thread, I'll be all right. The first video I made was to show you that you had to make the main base for the neckline. And that's this entire brown right here. Now, it would have been better if I used pink first, but I thought I'll get a little inventive and creative. And so part 2 is you going through your entire through the first part, your neckline. You have to go through with one bugle, one seed bead, and one bugle for every 6 beads. The 6th bead you sew into. And at the end, if you come out with more beads than what you counted, then you're going to have to go back through and recount your beads because there's a mistake somewhere. As I said in a previous video, when you first start off, with where you see this brown seed beads, your neckline, you have to count in groups of 6, multiple groups of 6. And then at the very end, you add one more bead, only one bead. So when you go through it again, you, I don't know how that works out mathematically, but you go through one seed bead, and then from there, the 6th seed bead from there is where you sew into. So here's the end result of that. I just wanted to show you, I'm planning to make, I call these wreath earrings. I don't know where I came up with that name. To me, that it looks like a wreath. But yes, this is what I'm going to be making afterwards. But I just wanted to show you what you are making, because this is one of my finished results. So, yeah, like I said, there's 4 parts. There's 1, and then here's the number 2. We finished number 2, and now we're on number 3, going through number 3. So once you are finished going through level 2, I'm just trying to put that necklace neatly in. I got its own little box, see? Just trying to make it go in there nice and neat. The boxes never seem to be long enough. So I sold these necklaces and earrings set for $80. Just this particular type because of the amount of work and the beads that go into it. So that's an $80 value. So once you get to the very end of your 2nd stage and you're ready to go into the 3rd, oops, sorry. I'm sorry about that. I'm always hitting my stoop. So at the very end, you're always going to have to sew into your to your barrel clasp. And then once you tie into that, when you're finished stage 2, you go back into, by the way, I put a lot of thread on my needle, and like I said, it's optional if you're going to use beeswax, which I should invest in some, but I haven't had that in years. I've been using candle wax, because wax is wax. It does the same job. The only thing is, certain kind of wax, you get the perfume ones, and there's people that are highly sensitive to perfume or allergic to it. So I try to avoid using candle wax if I could. This is the sucky part about this job, is dealing with thread. So I highly recommend using beeswax. Investing in it is hard to, because some places are expensive to sell that. Some places are not. So here in Nova Scotia, I haven't really looked into, because I've been so into using the candle wax. Okay, come on, work with me, buddy. I always talk to my thread and my beads. People will look at me crazy. It helps. But yes, this is what you have to face when you're dealing with thread. And it's because it's all jumbled, so it's always good to straighten out your thread. Like, take the time out to straighten it out, which I did not do. Like, after almost every use of putting on a new bead, you're going to have to take time to straighten it out. So I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to run my fingers through it. It surely helps with some of the kinks. And it gets kind of mustered into a ball sometimes. So it's always good to take the time out. Okay, so once you get sew into that seed bead, you go back in through your bugle. This is why it's important to use size 11, because it's so thin. There we go. Now, you go back through this first seed bead. And this won't take any time, too much time to do, but I'm going to use brown. And then I'm going to use pink after this. So you count 5 beads. Yeah, I always double check. 5. And then you just sew it into the next one. And then another 5 beads. Double check. I'm going to straighten this out again. Alright, so I'm going to do one more, and then I'm going to pause the video, and then I'll come back at the end. 2, 4, 5. So you just add 5 beads in between these middle seed beads, in between the bugles. And this is how it's going to look afterwards. So yeah, I'll be back with the final stage. This is, yeah, by the way, this is stage 3. that we're doing right now. I've already completed stage 2. All right, see you soon. Okay, so I just completed round 3. Now for the 4th and final part. Now I'm still at number 3, stage 3. So when you finished, you still gotta go up through this bugle and and tie off. See when you go too fast. But I don't think I have enough string on here to complete stage 4, but I do not want to tie off because I want this to be your learning experience of what to do. Alright, so I just straighten out my thread. So tie off on your clasp. And this is how I tie off. I always found it easy and effective. So I usually go through it once. Right now I'm just gonna get this here round part down a little further, and if your thread is uneven, it's gonna affect the tie off, so it's always good to double check your length in your circle. And then I just go through it one more time, and to me that gives it a little more tighter fit. So oh, I just made a boo-boo, didn't I? I think I did. Hopefully I didn't. Sometimes if you go like this, it'll tighten it for you. And there you go. Yeah, it kind of got bejumbled. But I took the thread and spread it apart in 2 separate directions, and it tightened. And luckily that was good enough, because sometimes that could be a hassle. Then you're going to go back in through the seed bead. Hopefully sometimes your seed bead will get very tight from you can only go through it like 3, sometimes 4 times. And even that's even a challenge. And it'll snap your bead. So, alright, let me just put this up here. So you go, on stage 2, just to show you stage 2, you go back through your bugle, down on the bottom, through your 3rd stage. Alright. You gotta be careful at this point because you don't want to mess up the threading. If it gets wrapped around something, you don't want that. Again, I have to straighten out my thread. You're gonna find this too, like you gotta put enough thread on here to make sure you have a good strong choker. Then you go through this seed bead. I'm just going to take a look at this other one. Alright, sometimes you gotta look at the bottom piece. Yeah. That looks like 1 and 2. There's actually 5 parts, so I'm mistaken. So, Alright, I'm just going to put that there for a second. So this here would be considered bead 1, and the next one after that is bead 2. Okay. Again, straightening out my thread. So that's long. You have to be particular with what you're picking sometimes. So now you get this and you count 1, 2, 3. 3 beads. All right, 1, 2, 3. And then you take this one, the next one, and the one after. So that'll give you, you skip 3 and you sew through 3. Again, you don't want your thread to get knotted up, because that'll be a big challenge. So there. Oh, my shoulders hurt today. Felt like I was lifting on something on my shoulders all night. So that was this is stage 4. So there's actually 5 stages, because there's another part. And the last part that has to go on there is going to be more time consuming than what you've already endured, because we're right here now, but then we come back and we have to sew through this here part and add the seed beads along with the bugle. But what I'm planning to do on this particular, see this one here has seed beads at the very bottom. I'm planning to put these on to give it a little more length. It matches with the bugles. So that's what I'm planning to put on. And then I'm planning to put these big seed beads on as well, the very bottom, or I might just stick with the pink. We'll see. But I will be right back with the 5th stage. And let me show you again. So you count 1, 2, 3, and then you sew through 3. Skip 3, sew through 3. Sorry if I'm not in a picture. I should be a little more attentive of my camera view. But I'm so focused on my beadwork that I'm not even paying attention to the camera, which makes me a bad camera person. And I'm having trouble with this. Come on, work with me. There we go. So I will come back with stage 5. We're on 4 now.